Hello guys, welcome back to class. In this session, we'll see another important topic from Python called functions. So we'll understand what are the functions and how to write and various things. So in this, we'll start with basic introduction to functions. We'll try to understand some important built-in functions. Already we discussed some built-in functions previously, right? We'll see some more most commonly used built-in functions. Then we'll go for how to write user-defined functions. When you write user-defined functions, various things like function return multiple values or single value, parameters and arguments, types of arguments, scopes, and there are special keywords called global, G-small, global and local keywords, recursion, most important, lambda expressions, very, very important, higher order functions, most important, and finally the practice test. These are various topics we learned from this functions topic. So let's start with introduction. So might be you have learned about functions in some other programming languages also, right? Function is a reusable block of code, reusable block of code that performs a specific task, performs a specific task. You can also say it's a named block, right? Function is a named block which can be reused. And you can define a function once and call it multiple times whenever you need it. Any function you take which considers some input parameters, which takes the input as parameters, process it, and may return the result. Result always not mandatory. It may return the result, it may display there itself. It may return the result, right? So basic function, a reusable block of code which performs a specific task. You define a function one time and you call whenever you want. So that's what we're calling as a reusable named block, reusable named block. And two types of functions. Two types depending on whether you are defining or not. So Python comes with wide variety of built-in functions. They already implemented ready to use functions are the built-in functions. And depending on your business requirements, your application requirements, you can define your own functions called as user-defined functions. User-defined functions. So let's start with some built-in functions, which already discussed. I'll high level go through this. So we already discussed about a print function and used almost in every lab, right? Print, which is used to, the font size is okay, guys, right? Print, use it to display the output to the screen. Just you call print and values or variables, whatever you want, you can pass that. Then, so we have a input. Input reads the input from user as a string. This also we discussed. Just if I say enter your name, it will read that and store in a variable. You can use that. These two already we discussed. Just running this. Simply prints allowed. You enter the name, prints the name. Third is the help function. So when you are using any built-in function or when you're using any function written by somebody, you want to know information about the function, like what is the purpose of that, what input parameters it is taking, what return value it is returning. If you want to learn about this, you can use a most important function called help. Help returns the documentation portion of the given function. So I'm saying help and pass the function name. We have seen a length function, I think already, right? When we used a string to find a string length, we use a length. So how we used a length function? len, you pass the string object as parameter. It finds the number of characters. Or if you want to find a length of a list, you pass my list as parameter. It gives the number of elements in the list. Or you have a set, you can pass length of my set. The number of elements in the set will be written by the length. So length is a common global function. You call it as a global function because we can use directly. Now, just see that how it prints. So when I say length, it is taking object, returns the number of items in the container. The container can be a string, or it can be any data structure which contains collection of elements, right? Or you want to find the information about, suppose instead of length, I want to see the information about a print function. Help print. You say that I want a help about print function. Run this. So print function, all arguments it is showing. See, star args represents the variable arguments in the function. So print function, first parameter is variable arguments. If you observe how we are printing, what are the parameters of print, guys? Can I say print A comma B comma C? Can I pass 3 values to that? Can I pass only 2 values if I want? Can I pass only 1 value if I want? So you are passing 1 argument, or if you have a 2 values you're passing, 3 arguments you're passing, or 4 arguments. Variable arguments, yeah, instead of multi arguments you call it as a star represents, right? So that is the first parameter. We will learn that. If I write our own function, suppose I am writing my own function called display. In display function, how to use variable arguments like this? We will learn that syntax. So next parameter is separator. Separator we discussed already how to use. Next is the end. We discussed about this. We didn't talk about the file and flush. Leave this. In other context, we'll learn. So they given a simple function. All the parameters they explained here, and each is explored like this. If you want any documentation about your function, the function you want to learn or you want to use, you can just use a help function, right? Similarly, we'll try with, we studied about input function. So input of this, right? So these three functions regarding input output related. First category of the built-in functions. 3 functions we have seen: print, input, help. Next, type conversion. Yes, Sivashagar. Question from Sivashagar is whether help works for user-defined functions also. Yes, it works for any function actually. Function, whether you have written or somebody has written, it works. Fine? Okay. So second category of important built-in functions. One is the int. Int already we used, some are used it. Just at one place, I am quickly summarizing the points. Int is to convert value to integer. So if you want to convert string to integer, I am just calling here int of string. So 10 is a string. I am converting to integer, storing in num. When I see the type of num now, type of num is the int object. Type of num is the int object. right? So float converts a value to float. Suppose again a string I have 99.99, 99.99, then convert to float, it comes to the price. Price is of type float. For user-defined functions, yes, you need to write a documentation, Alok, you are right. Only when you have a documentation, then it displays that. This is coming from documentation only. This note is coming from documentation purpose. Okay, float is to convert other types to float. We discussed this already. And str converts a value to string, value of any type to string. Suppose I have 123 integer number, str of 123, that will be converted to string, printing the type as a string. Next, a bool function, bool of 1. 1 is a number converting to boolean, storing in a flag. The flag becomes the boolean type. And also we discussed about type function, which returns the type of an object. So type of 3.14. 3.14 is a float value. So internally it will create a float object. So I am getting a float class type. Returns as float. And instance of instance of also discussed or not? Instance of checks whether object is instance of a given class or not. Instance only. Is instance, sorry, not instance of. Instance of in Java. Is instance. Is instance 5, comma, int. 5. 5 is a number, integer number you are representing. So it should be integer object. Internally it is creating a integer object. So true only. Then I am saying 5.5. 5.5 is the float object. So whether it is instance of int, no, it is instance of float, not int, gives us false. And 7, return id function. id returns the memory of a given object. Memory of x equals to 36. So what happens internally? Integer class object will be created, right? So it's going to, we discussed how it is creating internally. X is a reference variable and it is going to create integer objects, address 500. Address 500. In this integer object, there are so many sections we discussed. So this address, what X contains, address of integer object. That address of integer object will be written by X. Written by id function is used to get the address of given integer objects. Okay. These 7 functions belongs to type checking or type conversion, second category. These are also mostly I think we discussed. Next, mathematical functions. ABS, absolute of minus 15. Absolute function returns the non-negative value of a number. Non-negative value of a number. Absolute of minus 15 is non-negative is positive value, it returns positive value as 15. Suppose if I say absolute of 15 only, it returns 15 only. If I return absolute of 9.99, you tell me this, minus 9.99, minus 9.99 is. Absolute function, not only in Python, in any it is a mathematical function, standard mathematical function. You write a program with any programming language, absolute only returns the non-negative value. That's it. It won't do any flooring or a ceiling or a rounding. These kind of operations will not be done by the absolute. It just returns a positive number. It just returns a positive number. Okay. So next, round function. Round of 3.14159. So round, you know what round does? Round is equivalent to, I think, two functions, right? Round is equivalent to, internally, round does either flooring or ceiling. Flooring or ceiling. So when it goes to the 3.14, will it do flooring or a ceiling? 3.14 means below the half. Below the half means it will do the flooring. So it output is 3. And 3.89159, 3.85159 means it will go for a ceiling. Above half to the next whole number. Next whole number. Yes. So this is 3. Okay. And this is 4. That's what we answered, right? Okay. Next, tell me this one. So this floor, this round we'll use many times, guys. Because whenever you do, later when you're learning NumPy and Pandas, when you do operations on large data sets, you may get a large decimal points. But I want to round it to 2 digits at the end. We have a second parameter for the round, guys. Second parameter for the round is, I wanted to, first is the value, second is the integer number which represents number of decimal points you want. I wanted 2 decimal points. So round to 2 decimal points means what it will give, tell me. Means you should not remove the decimal points, right? 3.14. Round to 3 decimal points. So some of you are telling 3.14, some of you are telling 3.10, one guy told 4 also. Okay, 3.89159 to the round to 2 decimal points. 3.89 only. Eight, 9 only. So the point to land here is, when you don't have a second parameter, when you don't have a second parameter, it will go for either flooring or ceiling. It will go for either flooring or ceiling when you don't have a second parameter. And a question is 3.148. 3.148. 148. So it came as now 3.15. Okay. So I think you understand the process, right? Okay, that's about a round function. Next, power function. Power is equivalent to 2 stars. There is a multiplication function. Power of POW of 2, 3 means 2 power 3. It gives the 8. Yeah, 2 stars equivalent. Div mod is there. So division is the quotient, right? Division operator. Suppose if I say 10 by 3, what happens, guys? 10 by 3 gives you the quotient. If I say 10 module 3, it gives you the remainder. So 10 by 3 is the quotient. What is the quotient here? For example, 10, 3, 3 is 9, 1. So quotient comes as a 3. What's the remainder coming? Remainder as 1. 10 by 3, quotient is 3, remainder is 1. Okay. So you can use this operators, division operator, modular operator, you can use to find the quotient and remainder. There is a function here given called div mod of pass the two numbers. It will perform division and modular operation both, and this function returns multiple values. See, it is returning both the values, right? So in Python, function can return a value. Generally, any programming language you see like C, C++, Java or others, generally function returns a single value only. Function returns only single value. But in Python, function can return multiple values also. It is returning two values. Two values are written here. So function can return multiple values. These multiple values are packed as tuple. Abhishek, that is coming as a tuple. T-U-P-L-E, tuple. So returns a tuple containing a quotient and a remainder. So tuple data structure we are seeing, right? Tuple represents the parenthesis. It can have multiple values, right? One data structure in Python. We'll see that, Shankar. We will see that. You can return a multiple values. Anyway, when we write our own user-defined functions, I'll show you. There is a topic here for us. Separately, I've taken for this. You see this 5.4 topic is about function return values. How to return a single value, how to return a multiple values, how to handle that, how it is internally packing into tuple, how you can unpack the tuple, all that we'll see in a topic 5.4, function return values. So, okay, these four functions we have seen. These four functions relate to mathematical, simple functions. Next, collections. We won't see any collection framework here. Collections related important. Common functions only we are talking. Length already we discussed. I have a list which contains 6 elements. I can just print length of my list. I have a string. So D, B, E, A, F, C. I'm just finding length as 6. Finding the length. Next, sorted. So I have a list which contains some unordered 30, 50, 40, 60, 10, 20. Sorted of my list, which sorts the list. Similarly, I have a string DBEAFC. When I say sorted of my string, it is sorted to A, B, C, D, E, F. Sorted is a common function you can use. You can sort any collection. You can sort any iterable. What are iterable? String, list, set, tuple, dictionary, all this you can iterable. So the default is ascending order, Abhishek. We have an options to do it in descending also. When we go to collections framework, we'll understand that more clearly. Okay. Next, range function. Range already we discussed, right? Range is to generate the numbers from given start to given end with a given step. Range function already we discussed. Next, reversed. Reversed returns the given iteration in a reverse order. Suppose I have a list with 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. When I say reversed, so it gives you the same in a reversed. And here if you observe the syntax, suppose I am trying to print the reversed or x equals to reversed of my list. X equals to reversed of my list. Print x. print x. Okay. First we'll see this output, what x is printing here. Or we'll say x equals to, comma. So what is x value printed here, you see? It is printing a reverse iterator object. So x containing now reverse iterator object. So reverse iterator don't have a kind of individual element display. For that reason, we have to reverse iterator, whatever it is returning, reversed method is returning reverse iterator. That again I am passing as a parameter for list. So I am creating a reverse list. Understand this syntax? Same in the case of string also. String ABCDEF is there, mystr equals ABCDEF. Reversed of mystr gives the reversed object. Then I am passing the reverse iterator into the list, creating a list object and printing the list. Is this clear? These are, you can use for any collection, Mahesh. That's what heading I given. These are built-in functions common for collection. And for a, we are not talking about a string functions. String object itself have many functions. List has many functions. Dictionary has many functions. Tuple has some functions. Set itself has some functions. We are just learning about common functions of all the collections here. Yeah, we can iterate for a reverse iterator also. There is actually a raw object. Generally, we won't touch that. That's a raw object. Always you take it into list and use it. Raw objects we won't use on the top directly. You convert to the list and use it. Or you wanted a set, convert to set and use it. Okay? Reversed we are done. Then max. Max is so simple. Max is for finding max of a given list. I have a list of elements here. I have a list of elements 10 to 60, max of a given, you print it 60. And also you see here, what's the difference between this and this? Tell me. I'm calling this as a 1 and this as a 2. So here in this line 1, what I am passing as a parameter? List I am passing as a parameter, right? List I am passing as a parameter. And here what I am passing? Dinesh, you are right. It is not a tuple H1, Abhishek. I am individual values I am passing. Suppose there is a difference here. See this. Suppose I have a function called show, guys. Show of 10, 20, 30. So this parens is for the function opening. This is for a function closing. What I am passing here, individual arguments, right? Individual arguments I am passing. Yes. And if you want to pass a tuple, see the syntax of passing tuple. Did you get the difference? This is a tuple you are passing as an argument. And this is individual variable arguments you're passing as. It may be a variable arguments, Mahesh and Sanjit. It may be a variable arguments or a fixed arguments, we don't know, depending on the function. But those are the individual arguments you're passing. Case 1 is individual 3 arguments you're passing. For this show 1, I'll call it show 1, this is show 2. In show 2, how many arguments you're passing? Show 1, how many arguments you're passing? Show 1, how many arguments, guys? 3 arguments you're passing. Show 2, single argument called tuple. Another bracket is there. This is the function bracket, this is the tuple bracket. Right? So, the point, come back to this. The point here is, max function if you have individual values, you pass the individual values, max will find a maximum of that. Or you pass a data structure also, like maybe a set or whatever you want, set or tuple or list, it will find that also. Both are allowed. Similarly, min also. Min also will take list as a parameter or a set as a parameter to find the minimum, and this case is to find a individual values. You can pass a C. I am passing for min individual values as parameters. It finds the min. Both are same as of now. Just finding min max a basic operation. But what are allowed? Individual arguments allowed or iterable object also allowed. Coming to the sum, which looks similar, but here is the problem. See, first sum function. What I am passing here? This is a list I am passing. So all the elements, it will find the sum of elements in the list. Okay. Next time, what I am passing? Number two is I am passing individual arguments. Okay. Then for some time I'll comment this line. So this is executed. My list contains elements from 10 to 60. Print of sum of my list. 10 to 60 means we got the 210. That line executed successfully. Then print of sum don't have individual argument option. Sum function takes only iterable as returns the sum of elements in the iterable only. No individual arguments in this. Clear? But we have that facility for min and max. Sum only for collections. Min and max you can use for collections or maybe individual arguments also. That point is clear? Next. Sum has another version, guys, here. That is sum of, I am passing the list comma 500, second parameter. Suppose when I have my list here, say my list equals to, my list is 10, 20, 30. Okay. So generally when you write a sum logic, you write the logic, guys. What sum is doing, you write the logic. You know the looping, right? You write the logic for this. Write the logic on chat box. This is commented. I'm just closing that. Yeah, Dinesh, I'll come to that point very shortly. See, guys, suppose I have my list equals to 10, 20, 30. Okay. If I ask you to write a function for a sum, what is the logic you write? So first you're going to some variable you assign to sum equals to 0. Am I right? Then write a for loop for x in my list. These are all programs you have to practice. We have to practice so many basic programs. You know the logic, as 90% of you are the working professionals having around 10 plus years of experience. You know most of the logic, but you need to practice at least 50 to 100 programs in Python. The reason is you have to make your hands dirty with Python syntaxes, the Python related code, all that you have to keep in your mind. Yeah, what code inside this? Sum equals to sum plus x. Simple, right? Once the loop is completed, you print the sum value. This simple logic, right? Okay. What is the initial counter you have taken here? Initial counter, guys, 10. Sorry, 0. Then it start from 0 plus 10, 10, then 10 plus 20, 30, 30 plus 30, 60. It gives the values as 60. Instead of that, sum 0, suppose I have done a previous operation. In that I got result, some 50 I got. Now I have to adding these values to the previous result called sum. So I want to start my sum with 50 or something else. So my list comma, second parameter is there in the sum. If you pass second 500, then second parameter here it will initialize with 500. It starts from 500 plus 10, then result plus 20 plus 30. You understand the second parameter of this? Lakshmikant, the dimensional addition will go later. Okay. See, I just want to HELP help of the sum. I am also printing help of sum. See, some parameters, Lakshmikant, some function parameters. How many parameters we have? Iterable. Yes, we can do that, Anil. Sum of two list, we can do it, but not using this sum function. We have other facilities are there. There are other functionalities. We will learn that when you're discussing about the list topic. Okay. And this sum, what we are talking, takes the iterable as a parameter and start equals to 0. Say default start as 0. Default start as 0. Okay. This is about a sum function. Fine. So another important category of basic functions is characters and Unicode related. Odd function, odd we discussed already, returns the Unicode point of a given character. Ordinal of, odd is a part of ordinal. Odd of A means A's Unicode value will come. A's Unicode value or ASCII value, right? ASCII of A is 65. Reverse of that. Odd function takes the char, returns the Unicode value or ASCII value or ordinal value or Unicode point, something. Char is taking number, gives the respective character. 65 corresponding character will be taken. Okay. So we have done 2 Unicode related and 7 collection related. 2 plus 7, 9 functions. 9 and 4 mathematical related. 9 plus 4, 13. 13 plus 7 type related, typecasting and conversion. 20 and 3 basic input output related. So total 23 built-in functions we have seen as of now. Okay, fine. My question to you, whether you have imported anything now, any library is imported, any module is imported. We didn't do any import here. Abhishek, not Abhishek. I think somebody told sis. We didn't do any import. So something imported by default, right? So these are the functions. Like there are some other functions also. We'll discuss those later. Like we have a map function is there, filter function is there, format function is there, all function is there. There are some more functions. When time comes, we'll discuss about that. See, these functions, these built-in functions are called as a global functions. Why I'm calling as a global functions here is, these functions are by default available in Python. You can use them without importing any library or a module, available by default. There are some other functions. Those, if you want, you have to do imports. Imports, I think I have introduced imports at some place. Have you remembered? At one place I shown importing, which is imported in that program. Import sys, very good. So sys library, we imported and used a function from that. But for this, we did not do any imports. Okay. Regarding library or a module imports, we will study separately in a separate topic. How to write our own modules, how to import. Yeah, like maybe if you know Java, in Java we have a java.lang package, right? lang package is a default imported. Like that, here we have all built-in packages. These are all import related. Sanjeet has given a big list here. From this, we discussed the most important, and remaining we'll discuss in the appropriate places. Like there are collections related also is there. We'll talk about those later. Okay, guys. Now come to the user-defined functions. So writing user-defined function is so simple. Writing user-defined function is so simple. You can start with def keyword, def keyword. You can start with def keyword and you write your own function name. Suppose show is my function name and you can have a parameters here. These are parameters or arguments. What do you call actually? Name. Name is a simply parameter I am taking, or if you want to name comma suppose course I am using. Bracket is coming, no brackets here. It will come sometimes because of habit. So as usual, block notation starts always with the colon, right? Block starts with a colon. Whenever you put a colon there, immediately Python understands that, okay, your block notation starts. Then when you press enter, it goes for indentation here. It won't go for a beginning. Now you write your statements, whatever you want. Say I'm printing name, then print course, then say print, okay, whatever tasks you want to do it. That's it, over. That's it. This is a simple function you define. If you have any return values, yes, at the end you write simply return. Suppose you're returning integer values 99, something like this. Return 99. So function you are defining called show. Function you're defining called show, which is taking two arguments and doing something. And it can return optionally, it can return the values. Once it is defined, you call this a number of times. Show. Whenever you call a function, control will go here. Now, but you have to pass the arguments here, right? You have to pass the arguments. We have two name, say SRI, comma course as say Python. So control will be transferred. Whenever you call, control will be transferred here. These two values will be copied into these variables. Then you do something. You're returning 99. Control will come back here. You can store into variable x. Now x contains, if you print x, x is the 99. So two sections. This is called as function definition. You're defining a function one time. Okay? And this is called as function calling. Calling and definition are two different things. Yeah. That's the simplification, Abhishek. Abhishek, question is, we don't have to specify written type and definition, not required, Abhishek. Don't say, that is what you are making the rules, right? When so many rules, when you make restrictions, that becomes a complex. So here, don't say anything about written type. No, we are not saying whether you are returning or not returning. We are not saying what we will return. Whatever you want, you return it. You may return integer value, you may return string value. There is no restriction. That's a simplification of Python. So basic is clear. So when you write a function, you can have multiple options. You can write a function without parameters, without return type, with the parameters, without return type, or any combination, right? Now, user defined functions. Let's see the first example. Function without parameters, without return value. I am not passing any parameters, not returning anything. So first defining function. Def, say hello. Okay. Say hello. And in this, I'm not passing anything. So everything hard coded. Hello, Srinivas. Welcome to JLC. This is my simple function with the two parameters. Calling that. I can call this a number of times now. I'll do callings in a next tab for clarity. So this particular cell is just defining a function. This particular cell is just defining a function. No output in this, right? Just executed. Now you call it n number of times you call. I'm just calling that n number of times. So for this function, how many times you're calling? 3 times. When you say hello, control will go here, execute this. Again, when I say hello, again when I say hello, it will go here and execute that. A number of times you're calling this. And you're not passing any parameters and you don't have any return type also in this. This is one simple category. Next. So function with the parameters and without return values. Suppose I am writing a function called add. Okay. Add. Sum is built in is there. That's what I taken as add. Or you want to make it find. Generally, naming conventions, if you see, we'll use underscore for a multi-words, guys. The functions we will use like this. Find underscore sum I am using. So this is a naming convention you are learning. Even for a variables also, for a methods, it is recommended that multi-words are there, all small, with every word separated by underscore. Do you understand this? Let's say naming can find sum is my function. Now, it has a 3 arguments you pass. So tell me guys, 3, what are these data types? Are you saying any data types A, B, C you are passing? What data types you are saying? 3 arguments you are passing, fine. Are you saying any data types of A, B, C? We are not saying any data types for ABC. No need to say any data type, just say ABC. Anything you pass. Okay, fine. Inside that, I am finding total. Total equals to A plus B plus C something. Then print the total. I am printing the result there itself in the find sum function only. So I am not returning anything back to this. I am not returning anything back to this. I am printing there itself. Now you do a call. Call I'll do in another cell. Okay. 10, 20, 30, total is 60. Find sum of 25, 25, 25, total is. We are just functionally printing. We are passing this example to function with parameters. We are passing parameters, but no return value. Not returning because there itself result is printing. Third category, function with parameters and with return value also. So same find sum I am using. Okay. Find sum I am using. Here I use a different naming convention just to make or to avoid the function collision. Already this name is there, just currently keep like this. Okay. Find sum with ABC I am passing, total equals to A plus B plus C. The total I don't want to print here. I'll return back to the caller of this. I'll return back to the caller of this function. Okay. That is absolutely depending on the requirement, Benai. Whether you want to return it depending on the case. Suppose you take a print function. Is it returning anything? No. Print, whatever you are passing, print A, this function takes a value and it will utilize internally. That's it. And if I say length function, length is taking something as a parameter and we need that. I want that result, right? So I have to return back. Depending on use case, you can choose whatever you want. This is absolutely depending on use case. These are different styles available, anyone you can use. Generally, we return go for you need a value back or you are displaying something. Shankar will see about method overloading and overriding. We'll understand that. I'll explore that again. Okay. Sanjit is very fast in a. Sanjit, better you don't do that. We'll go in a sequence because we don't know anything about object-oriented concepts, right? You have started writing a class. You written a class, overriding, inheritance. Fine. So you are using ChatGPT quickly and copying, pasting here. So anyway, they can't understand. So if they are seeing that code, you have written hardly 20 lines of code there. If anybody is seeing that, they'll miss my flow, right? Shankar, you concentrate on the current topic, okay? Shankar, concentrate, Shankar Dayal, concentrate on the current topic, what I am telling. Fine? Okay, come back. Now, whenever you call a function, you will that you can this kind of discussions you can do in the group, Sanjit. In WhatsApp group, you do that. But now what happens is if they are seeing that, Shankar Dayal will see your code. Now what I am telling, he will miss that. Shankar Dayal, you ask the questions currently related to this. So that topic, there is a separate topic, right? That we will discuss again separately. Okay? Still, we didn't start object-oriented concepts. We'll do that again. Okay, come back. Now, where we are now? What I'm telling, gone. What I'm telling is, function with return value. Function with return value. So it is returning find sum I am calling, which is returning a value. So what I am doing, find sum I am calling, control will go here. Here A, B, C, three variables. A gets the value 10. You're passing, right? The argument section. You are passing 10, 20, 30. So here memory will be allocated for A, memory will be allocated for B, memory will be allocated for C. Those contains the A value 10, B value 20 and C value 30. In that you are using those and returning value. So return value will come back, that will be stored in the result. Your result will be now 10 plus 20 plus 60. I am printing that. What is the type of this now? What is the type of this, guys? Type of result I want. Tell me that. Currently int only. Am I right? Type of result is int because I am passing integers, definitely integer object. Total is another variable created here. Total is another variable created here, which is of type int. Rajkumar question is, when we are calling, we have to give similar data types. That is, if you use a wrong, it will happen. There is no restriction here, Rajkumar. See, I'll do mistake now here. What I'll do, let me to take out from this. Even above also, we can do an experiments like that. So I am passing, actually my requirement is finding the sum of numbers, right? Find numbers sum. So as long as I am passing numbers, it works fine. Suppose I did a mistake like this, guys. Find sum with, I am passing character, something. Suppose hello I am passing, comma, hi I am passing, comma, jail same pass. Now tell me, first, whether calling is possible or not. My first question is calling is possible or not, guys. Calling is possible or not? Possible, because A, B, C, you just told it takes a three arguments. You didn't say whether it is int or string or something. So it takes strings also. Then here what you are doing, string plus string plus string. Concatenation is possible. So if you do concatenation, result will be stored in a total. Total is now a string value, returns the string that you are storing in a result. It prints the result. Type of the result as string. Okay, run this program. Yes. No space. Yes. I'll do one more. You tell me this. Another call I am doing. Very good. Most of you has answered correctly as error. Concatenation only for a strings, guys. Concatenation only for strings. See this. Produce the error because, see this. Can only concatenate a string to string. Can only concatenate a string to string. Concatenation plus operator. That is string plus string only valid. Str plus int invalid. Str plus float invalid. Str plus bool invalid. Okay, point is clear. So that you have to take care about that. There is no strict here. You have to pass only integers like that, not there. That is a simple power of Python. So fine, this gives the errors. So I'm commenting this section. This anyway gives the error. Okay, guys. Now tell me. Suppose first function I am taking. In example 1, example 2 I am taking. Okay, in this. So my simple questions to you. Question from Manik is, this memory allocation is in a heap. There are two things, Anik. We have a reference variable and object. Object always will be in the heap. Objects always will be in the heap. Because it's going to create three things like this. A is a reference variable which contains the object address. This object can be, if I am passing numbers, suppose if you take this particular example, I am passing 10, 20, 30. So this object is integer object. Then B is a reference variable and making another object of this is 10, 20 object it is storing. C is a reference variable which is containing 30 object in this context, right? A, B, C, three variables. So now you remember that these objects always will be in the heap memory. Objects always will be in the heap. Objects always will be in the heap memory. And these are the reference variables. These reference variables scope will be changed. They have a scope actually. Reference variables have a scope. This definitely will be in the stack. You are right, Alok. These reference variables always will be in the stack only. When it is in stack, their scope will be changed. That we will see that. We have a one special topic here called scopes. We'll understand local scope, global scope, function scope, inner functions you can have. That scopes I'll talk more clearly further. But remember, objects always in the heap and reference variables always in the stack. The reference variables in the stack will have a different scopes. Those scopes we'll talk. Okay. So we are done about this. What you are done? Yeah, 3. Just quickly see. Use the defined functions. The function, you can write your own functions, right? You can write your own functions. Syntax is simple. Start with the def keyword. Simply start with the def keyword and function name, and you write arguments you want. So first example, you are saying this is a function without any parameters, no parameters, and no return values. Okay. Next. Now, is it mandatory that every function has written a value? Is it mandatory for a function to return a value always? Is it a mandatory for a function to return a value always? No, not required. Your wish. Okay. Now my point is this function is not returning a value. No problem. No need of returning is not required. Fine. Now what I want is I want to capture this. It is not returning anything. I know that. But I'm just trying to capture that. Is it possible or not? Yes. Find underscore sum is not returning any value. But I'm still trying to hold that into some variable x. Can I do it or not? You can do that. Okay, yes, you're right. You can do that. Then if I print x, what will be there in x? Dinesh and Lakshminath, Anek, Priyanka, you come back to non-Java. Sometimes Java libraries you unload from your memory. Uh, in Java, we have a void or maybe a null or something. In Python, it is none. None. Yes, it is N-O-N-E. None represents no value. N-O-N-E represents here nothing, right? Nothing is there. To say nothing, Python has a none here. Python has a none here. No 75. You are not returning 75 because see the flow once here. See, this is second call I am doing, right? This is my call. Function control will come here, right? So A contains the dumping the values. A contains 25, B contains 25, C contains 25. Then you are declaring another variable total. Okay? Total is a variable. Result 75 you are storing here. Then immediately you are printing output as total something 75. Then you are returning control. Control is coming back, right? When control is coming back, what it is bringing back? What is bringing back? Nothing, right? The nothing only here represented as none. So it has x as a none value. In Scala also, most similar concept, Vishnu. In Scala also, we have similar only. Scala, most of the syntaxes of Scala language and Python are similar. Understand? Empty control is coming back here. So when empty control is coming back, then the value is none. So let's print and see that. You are printing as x equals to, yeah, you can also say Shankar Dayal. The default return value is none. Okay. Now, so basic function definition is clear. Fine, guys. I think we are done up to this. We will take, we'll take a small break and come back. After the break, we'll continue the remaining.